Ah yes, it is finally here. After waiting for what felt like forever, the Shadow Generations DLC for Sonic 3 has been released, and man, it is amazing. Better than I could have imagined, and yet somehow also disappointing. But I'll get into that later. The actual story is non-existent, and I think that that's by design. Our Shadow the Hedgehog we played through in the game, who I'll refer to as mainline Shadow from here on out, goes through a mysterious ring portal, much like the ones from the Sonic movies, and enters into an already destroyed movie Tokyo as Movie Shadow, both with his design and the voice of Keanu Reeves. I've been avoiding as many trailers and announcements and interviews as I can for both this DLC and the movie, so hearing Keanu say more than "you're a colorful bunch" was a massive plus for me. I think Keanu Reeves is a legitimately good actor. I've never really been a Matrix person, the first movie is okay enough, but I've really liked his performances in Always Be My Maybe and Destination Wedding. I guess you can watch those as a recommendation. His sort of brooding, deadpan delivery brings a lot of weight to the character of Shadow, and his performance here just makes me more excited for the movie. So yeah, mainline Shadow's disembodied soul in the body of Movie Shadow sees a helicopter with the gun logo and follows him throughout the city. After destroying that helicopter and being chased by even more, Shadow makes it to Tokyo Tower, where he destroys a final helicopter with chaos control and eventually goes back to his own world, vowing to return. So let's start off with the positives. Story-wise, my concern was that this game was going to pull a Rise of Skywalker, where a essential piece of backstory was only available in Fortnite as a part of a limited time collaboration. I still can't believe that that was a real thing. That's not here at all, and I appreciate that Shadow Generations finds a way to excite fans of the movie while offering no story context whatsoever. It's kind of clever the way that they did it, although the soul of a different Shadow going into the Shadow, I don't know what to know the implications of what that means. Also, my compliment in my review for the main game, how it takes all of the edge and the angst that people love or love to hate about Shadow and just solidifies it into a game. This DLC is more or less an extension of that. As a matter of fact, it's somehow even cooler? Maybe because it doesn't have to dedicate itself to telling a narrative at all. The Tokyo DLC just gets to revel in Shadow's coolness. He runs up the Tokyo Tower directly, he uses missiles as platforms, it's amazing. What little cutscenes there are continue that step in quality Sonic Team had in the main game with their cinematics. There's one fairly long cutscene that you don't do anything for, where he destroys the first helicopter and he jumps up to it, he rips off the door, and it's so fucking cool, dude. And all of this is tied together by the actual level itself, and this is probably up there for my favorite level in the entire game. It doesn't quite beat Space Colony or Kingdom Valley, but it's pretty good in its own right. It almost plays like Shadow's interpretation of a city escape mission, and I like that a lot. It adds an entirely new ability with lots of wall running, some alternative paths, new posters to obtain for the collection room. Shadow's solo game is finally given representation with music from the Westopolis level. Pretty good, and it's just an all-around great level. Seeing such a realistic recreation of Tokyo is a bit jarring, but in a good way. The entire time you're just running on train tracks and freeways, through tunnels. It never loses its momentum at all. It's just a well-made level, man. Except that's all the DLC is. This $6 expansion is one 4-minute level that I S-ranked on my first try, as well as 2 very short challenges. This entire thing is not even half the length of Episode Shadow. I mean, I guess you can replay the level to get more of the posters, but there's nothing else to this paid DLC. And I get that a game being short is not a factor into whether or not I like a game, I've made that very clear over all these years, but this is one case where I guess my excitement got the better of me. It's especially jarring since just over the past year, we've gotten so many great DLCs that offer lots of value, not just in price, but in how much they enriched the main game, and while I do love this level, how much does 4 minutes change a 5-hour game? I just wish he was given a full act, man. The smaller scope of the DLC probably has something to do with how much time and money would have had to go into it. Sonic 3 releases in just a few days, Keanu Reeves probably costs a lot for voiceover, and making entirely new assets takes a lot of time, especially since this is a game that wasn't released for full price in the first place. But I just wanted a little bit more, man. At least a boss battle, maybe with Knuckles or Tails, just something. Shadow's final line says that he will return. Is that a hint towards another movie level? Maybe one that's being held back to prevent spoilers? I'm putting my money on a different horse. For those in the far future, the release date for this DLC was always December 12th, however the time frame that it was released in was held back into the Game Awards about 5:30 at night, which is where Sega released a reveal trailer for Sonic Racing Crossworlds, where seemingly mainline Shadow drives into a very similar looking ring portal from the movies. Does this mean anything? I have no fucking clue. I'm probably just saying all this because it's really late at night and I haven't slept. Just whatever comes of this hint, I hope that it's good. Can't even use the movie skin in the base game, which would probably break the canon or whatever Sega's reasoning is. Shout out to the PC players who've probably already modded the skin into the game before this video releases. I guess in the long run, I was left wanting more, which is a good thing. But I don't know, man. All I can do is focus on what is there, and in that case, the DLC is as good as the rest of the game. So I guess in the long run, Sonic Team wins. Let's just hope the movie doesn't disappoint. And if it does, I'll find you.
Hedgehog. Introducing Shadow from Sonic Adventure 2. Now you can choose to be Sonic, the good hedgehog, and try to save the world. Or Shadow, the evil hedgehog, and conquer it. What kind of hedgehog are you? Rated E for everyone, only on Dreamcast.